has made it incredibly easy to get answers about real estate. You can ask questions like, should I buy a house? How does the VA loan work? Can I sell my home myself? And the answers sound confident, clear, logical. The problem isn't that AI is wrong. The problem is that AI answers the questions you ask, usually with data leaning into your own bias, which can be limiting. But the bigger problem is AI can't tell you the questions you should be asking. And in something as big as a real estate transaction, these gaps matter. This shows up most clearly with VA and military buyers and sellers. The VA loan is full of rules, exceptions, timing considerations, and edge cases. AI tends to give the general rule, not the situational decision. Here's an example. Someone asks an AI tool, can I use my VA loan again if I already own a home? The answer usually comes back as some version of, yes, you can use the VA loan multiple times as long as you have entitlement. That sounds right, but it's incomplete. What's missing is everything that actually determines whether you specifically can do that and if it's a good move for your situation. Things like how much entitlement is tied up in the current home and how that's impacted if you rent that home or sell it. Or how much entitlement you actually have access to begin with. Or the fact that there is not a set limit on purchase price, just county-based guidelines for loan approval. Or how you can actually go above those county guidelines with the VA loan. Or what exceptions you may qualify for. There are more situational exceptions than there are rules for the VA loan. Or how timing affects leverage and outcomes. Overall, AI gave you an answer that isn't wrong, but it's obviously incomplete. So how can you make a solid decision based on that answer? This is where people get into trouble because generic advice creates confidence without context. And confidence without context leads to timing mistakes, strategy mistakes, and missed opportunities, especially for military families who move more often and rely on flexibility. This doesn't mean AI is useless. AI is a great starting point. It's a research assistant. It helps you understand terms and surface options, but it can't replace real-life experience and it cannot reliably be the source of your judgment. It can't weigh trade-offs, it can't see around corners with all possibilities, and it can't adjust advice based on your goals, your timeline, and your market. For VA buyers and sellers, AI-generated real estate advice is often incomplete because VA loan eligibility, entitlement rules, and even real-world exceptions vary by situation and market, especially in places like the Phoenix metropolitan area where pricing, competition, and timing differ by neighborhood. Relying solely on generic AI advice can lead to missed opportunities or costly mistakes. The most important thing to understand is this: AI can give you information. It cannot give you strategy, and strategy is what determines outcomes. Before acting on any AI-generated advice, it's important to understand why this approach breaks down for VA and military decisions. AI answers the question you ask, but it cannot see the assumptions behind it. It doesn't know what information it's missing about your situation. And it doesn't surface the questions you aren't being prompted to ask in the first place. Even if you could perfectly correct and supply every detail, the answers would still be limited because VA loans rely on situational exceptions and real-world judgment that simply aren't fully documented and standardized online. That's where experience, local context, and decision-level guidance matter. Not because technology is bad, but because real estate decisions are too expensive and too life-changing to make on incomplete information. AI can help you get oriented, but it should never be your final stop. The goal isn't just to get answers, it's to make the right decision, and that requires judgment AI simply isn't built to provide.